Yes, this is another tarot deck collection video out on YouTube, but instead of talking, I'll just be quietly shuffling them all. We'll see some of my favorite shuffles. Some that could be better. And some that are just downright difficult. One of my favorite things about tarot is shuffling and pulling cards and just handling the deck in general. So I figured, why not show my collection through just shuffling? And of course, the way that a deck shuffles doesn't make it entirely good or entirely bad. The cardstock is just one asset of the whole deck, right? If you have smaller hands, or if you're pretty picky about the way that you like your cardstock, hopefully this video is helpful for you. Since I won't be talking, I'll put all commentary in the closed captions. One more thing, please be wary of counterfeit decks out there. Not only does your money not go to the original creator, but also, the cardstock is going to be thinner and cheaper. The shuffling won't be the same at all. Amazon and Etsy have some legit decks, but they also have tons of fakes. If the deck description calls it a game, or lists a QR code guidebook, or seems cheaper than other tarot decks out there, it's probably a fake. You can find legit decks through publishers such as Llewellyn, US Games, Hay House, Rockpool Publishing, perhaps the deck creator's website or Instagram, etc. Alright, voiceover off, let's get on to the shuffling. Phew! That is a lot of decks. I definitely need some hand cream after all that. I started learning tarot and collecting decks about 2 years ago in 2020 during the pandemic. I'm quite happy with how my collection looks now. I love that there's so many cool artists who have put their work out into the world. Each deck gives such a different vibe, right? I hope you found some shuffles you really liked, and got to laugh at the shuffles that I really had trouble with. That is all for now. Bye!